Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a eyeshadow review video. Today I am going to talk with you about the new 24 Colourpop pressed eyeshadows that they released recently. This is what they look like. These are 24 new original shades of their single pressed pan, and I have reviewed plenty of these in the past, both on my blog and on my channel, because they're good. They're really good. However, they come in multiple different finishes, and some of them are amazing and some of them are things that you can skip. Together with this video, you will have a accompanying blog post on my blog where you can make and take references of all the swatches and photos of these eyeshadows, because I think it's actually quite important to have them searchable. So if you're looking for the Colourpop eyeshadows swatches, you will be able to find them on the blog. It will be linked in the description box, of course. In this video, you are going to find comparison swatches between these 24 new shades and the shades that are currently in Colourpop's collection, as well as shades that have been discontinued. I don't have them all. Not on the PR list. I bought a bunch of them, but since I moved back to Europe, I have been a little bit more conservative with buying Colourpop. These new eyeshadows were part of a Build Your Own Palette, BYOP sale, and that meant that the whole palette with 24 new shades was $44 instead of being $4 per shadows plus 10, I think, for the palette. So there was a huge savings. You got a bunch of them for free pretty much, or at a very discounted price. So I decided to buy them from the US and have them delivered here in Europe. Let's start with them because there's 24 of them and it's gonna take a while. We're gonna start with the first shade here. This is Take a Flight. It is a bright yellow. Here you can see it swatch compared to Tiki, the second one, which is another yellow they have in their collection, and Paper Tiger, which is actually a much more beige shade. As you can see, Take a Flight is much more bright yellow and true yellow compared to Tiki. The formula is pretty nice. You have to build it up. It's not a one swipe type of yellow. I don't dislike it. I think it builds up nicely and it blends nicely. However, if you have Sugar Pill Butter Cupcake, you don't need this. And if you are looking for a yellow and you can afford Sugar Pill, get Sugar Pill. The quality of those brights is just above and beyond. The next shade in our palette is Carrot Cake. Carrot Cake is a bright yellow gold, and this is definitely brighter and more yellow than Two Birds, which is actually much more orange in tone to Carrot Cake. It is also slightly more on the greener side of yellow rather than the warm side of yellow. Compared to a Makeup Geek eyeshadow like Untamed, Untamed is much more metallic and foiled as a formula, and much more full as a color. Next we have Baby Lights, and this is this shade here, and this is a duochrome shade. It has a caramel-ish base, but it has a gold, almost green shift to it. It is very beautiful. It is very unique. I don't have anything like it. And I'll quickly show you here on my hand the difference between Baby Lights, this one here, and Play by Play, which is another duochrome that Colourpop has in their line. And you can see here the difference is quite wide, with the Baby Lights being a little bit warmer and darker, and Play by Play being more cooler tone in the shift. The formula of Baby Lights is quite sheer, so it doesn't really work great on its own, except for the shimmer and the shift that it gives. But you're not gonna get a bright foiled metallic look on your eye. It's more of a shifty topper, let's say, to me. Next up is one of my favorites. This is Croco, and this is a bright burnt orange metallic shade. This is one of the first ones of a few that has quite a specific type of formula in it. I call it sticky in the sense that it doesn't transfer so well between the finger and the skin, so the eye or the arm in this case of swatches. It does work very well to pick up the product on your finger, but for example, it will take a little bit to get it on your eye. And same works with a brush, let's say. So there's a few of those with this formula, and I'll call them sticky metallics, but this is really, really beautiful. I will mention a second one to show you the swatches together in comparison. This other one is called Thank You Next, just like the song, and this is a multichrome almost. You can see it already in the pan. It shifts from a orange to a fuchsia pink, and this reminds me a lot of a shade of the Gingerbread Spice palette from Too Faced from last fall. I didn't pick up the palette, but there was one color I wanted, and it was this one. So this is a beautiful foiled metallic. The formula is different. This is a little bit more flaky and a little bit more glittery. It doesn't look like a metallic foil, but more of like a glittery metallic, let's say. The formula are different. You can see in the swatches compared to an old discontinued eyeshadow, which is Millie, which is one of my favorite eyeshadows by Colourpop, and you can see that they're both quite lighter than that, and they both swatch really, really nice and fully. They go on the eye the same way. Really beautiful, and especially Thank You Next with that reflect is gorgeous. The next shade is the shade Martian, and this is a terracotta brown with gold micro glitter inside. And now Colourpop will have to explain to me, why would you want micro glitter in your matte eyeshadows? I don't understand. I don't agree with it. I would not pick this one up because to me it's a missed opportunity. A quick comparison between Martian and Crisscross, one of my favorite eyeshadows from Colourpop that they decided to discontinue. You can see in the swatch here on my arm that on my hand, that Martian is a little bit lighter, whereas Crisscross is a little bit deeper and more red. So these are quite different, but I would not pick up Martian if I were you. There you have probably something similar in your collection that doesn't have micro glitter. Why would you need micro glitter? I think I've said it 20 times by now. I don't think I mentioned, but all of these swatches are done on clean skin, and I wipe it with a wipe. Next up, we have the shade Meteorite, and Meteorite is a bright orangey red, and it's really beautiful. It's a bit more muted than one of their pressed pigments that they have a while ago that is called Oh Ship. You can see here on my hand, this is Meteorite, and this is Oh Ship. So Meteorite is a bit more orange and a bit more muted and wearable, let's say. And I believe Martian is not a pressed pigment, but an eyeshadow, so it doesn't contain those ingredients that stain your eye. However, depends on you. I always prime my eyelid and set it, and then apply eyeshadow, and I didn't observe any staining. The next shade is the shade Over It, and Over It is a light pink with a gold shift. This is quite a known shade. You've seen it before. It looks like this, and it is a dupe for Makeup Geek Cosmopolitan. Very pretty. Not particularly metallic, not particularly foiled, but it looks really nice, and this is the type of shade that does not look good on my skin tone, to be honest, so I would not recommend it if you're like me and have quite a bit of depth and warm tones in your skin. However, if you like these colors, I would totally go for it. Now moving on to the greens and blues, I'm gonna start with the silver, not a green or a blue, but it falls into this side. This is on a Whimsy, and it is a beautiful silver eyeshadow. Nothing to say about it except that the formula is absolutely gorgeous. It goes on like a dream. It is very pigmented, very creamy, and very, very impactful and luminous. The next shade I have is Heavenly, and Heavenly is a light blue, minty hanging blue, but it's more of a blue than a mint green eyeshadow. However, this is extremely flaky. Ooh, and glittery. So you will have to apply this with a base, with a wet brush, to make sure you don't get fallout all over your face. I don't particularly like the formula of this one, and I would skip the eyeshadow if I were you. It's quite chunky and flaky, and you can see it here. It's a pretty shade, but it reminds me a lot of Fantasy by Makeup Geek, and not something that you particularly need, I think, because of the formula. The next shade is the shade Superzoom, and this is a beautiful, beautiful green teal eyeshadow. This is a medium shade, and this is part of those sticky metallics that I was talking about. I will swatch it for you quickly. This is Superzoom against Tiny Tangerines. That is something that is still in their collection. And this is Slayfarer, which is also still in their collection. You can see that the formula has improved, and it's much more metallic, and you can see it better. However, the shade is extremely similar to Slayfarer. I remember purchasing Slayfarer and being actually quite disappointed with the performance of the eyeshadow. So here you have an option and an improvement on that. I wish they had just reformulated that shade instead of making me buy another eyeshadow, or convincing me to buy another eyeshadow. Next shade is a matte, and it's a gorgeous, gorgeous green shade. This is Conjure Up. You've seen me use it on Instagram quite a few times. It's one of those shades that really, really speaks to me. I've used it as transition shade in many looks, and it's a beautiful, another shade I really did not understand and regret purchasing, to be honest, is the shade Night Dream, and it's this one here. As you can see, it's black with a lot of glitter. The glitters range from gold to pink to purple. In principle, a good idea. In practice, it's a matte black. You can barely see the glitters. It doesn't translate at all on the eye, and to be honest, a waste, a missed opportunity. It could have been a beautiful, shimmery, multi-chrome, I don't know, black base with a lot of color on top, but this is a miss for me. The black looks good, but it's a matte black with glitter, which means that the glitter flies all over the place, and you don't have a matte black and you don't have a shimmery black. You're left with something useless. That is something I will not recommend at all, and I would say you skip. I would have skipped if I had noticed. Now for the blues, this is one of them that I'm wearing right now on the outer half of my lid, and this is the shade Antimatter. You can see that this has quite a bit of blue reflect. It's very beautiful, and in certain lights it also shows some purple and pink, and I think this was a little bit of a miss in the sense that you can see that it wants to be a multi-chrome on a very dark base, but in the end it really mostly picks up a blue. It has a lot of glitter, it's really beautiful, it applies really nicely. I pat it on my eye with my finger because with a brush I'm afraid that the glitter will fly all over, and I didn't want it wet in this case. So this is what it looks like. It has a lot of reflects, but it doesn't really show up well when you apply it. The other blue is Quantum Sleep, and this is another of those sticky metallics, let's say, and this is a bright electric blue, and here you can see the swatch of it. It is not the most metallic of the eyeshadows they have. It is not my favorite formula of theirs, but it looks pretty nice, and yeah, you need to build it up quite a bit. I would also again recommend applying it with your finger or a wet brush to actually get the payoff that you see with a swatch. And here you see a comparison swatch between Quantum Sleep and Two Piece, the other metallic blue in the Colourpop collection. The tone is slightly different between the two, and the formula is different. Like this new sticky metallic formula, you can see drags a little bit better than the other one, and the tone is slightly different. Do you need them both? Absolutely not. If you have two ship, you don't need Quantum Sleep. Now moving on to the pinks and purples, which I know are also extremely exciting. The first one I want to show you is the shade Earthshine, and this is a beautiful light pink with a blue shift. The shift is quite pronounced, so you can really see it right there. And then the pink is very soft instead. So this is again something that is a little bit sheer, ideal for these ethereal looks, very pretty. Not something that I will rock except for maybe in the inner corner, but it's very, very pretty. Compared to their previous duochrome eyeshadows, this is Cakewalk and this is Big 3. You can see the shift is different, but also the formula is different. These two old ones are much more powdery and less shiny, whereas the new one definitely has a higher shine. I think the formula of these definitely has had some improvement compared to the older Colourpop formula. Next up is the shade Misty, and this is a very pretty rose gold with a pink shift on top. It's quite a medium pink rose gold. I don't know exactly how to describe it. It's very pretty. It has a little bit of a chunky and flaky formula, so you have to be a little bit careful in applying it. But you can see it's very pretty. It reminds me of Moscow. It reminds me of Moscow Sunrise, which is a limited edition, but here it is, and you can see that the reflect is really much more pink on the one on top, and Moscow Sunrise is a little bit more orangey and earthy colored. Next is one of my favorite shades. This is Mr. Sandman, and you've seen a video of the swatch of this on my Instagram, and I look on my stories with it because I think this is absolutely gorgeous. This is a typical eyeshadow that can bridge warm and cool tones because it has a slightly warmer base with a lot of cool tone shimmer on top. So you can see that you can wear it both with warm or cool tone transitions. You can go on the pink or on the purple side. There's a lot that you can do with this eyeshadow, and it will always look absolutely stunning. Again, a little bit of a chunky formula, but this one actually spreads out really nicely, and the chunks will just melt into your skin, so a little bit better than Misty, and something that I would definitely recommend you to pick up. It is completely different from Glass Bowl, if you're wondering, and they don't look the same at all, so that's why I also didn't swatch them next to each other, but I thought another nice duochrome is Glass Bowl from Colourpop. Very pretty, but not like this one at all. And for a real purple, this is Neutrino, and this is another one of those sticky metallics, let's say, and this is a medium purple with a light blue cool toned shift, and this is what it looks like. I have quite a hard time transferring this on my eye and making it look so vibrant and beautiful. Even with a wet brush, this doesn't look great. Yeah, the color is pretty, but it's not one of the best performing ones. So unless you really, really love the color, I would skip it. Next is a matte purple, and this is called Try Me, and this is a beautiful, perfectly medium purple. I really, really like this shade. It is very unique in my collection. It does not swatch nicely at all, and you need a little bit of patience in blending. You need to have it on a other shadow to blend it properly, but you can see that you can blend it out quite nicely. I have to play with this one a little bit better to get over how to figure out exactly how to get it to blend without having any patchiness. And then again, purples are notoriously difficult to formulate, especially matte purples. So this is a little bit of a more difficult shade. I want to swatch next to them from Colored Rain Vivid Pigments. This is Vibes, and this is Perp Smurf. You can see that in general, these purples are quite difficult. and the darker the better. So you can see that these are both quite patchy and difficult to apply. However, I have less problems with the Colored Rain ones than this Colourpop one. If you have them, I don't think you need to pick up this Colourpop one. Next is a beautiful dark plum. This is the shade Sleeper, and this is a darker muted plum. A beautiful eyeshadow, I think. And again, it's not gonna swatch very well. You need to work it in a little bit to have it work really nicely, and it works definitely better on a primed and dry skin. And now I'm putting down shadow on top of my hand after I clean it, so it doesn't really look that great. Here in comparison are the shade 143, which is a really nice purple for them. As you can see, my hand is now really horrible for swatching, but at least you can see the shade difference, and the shade Going Steady, which is really one of my favorite eyeshadows from them. But Going Steady is more warm and red, whereas Sleeper is a bit more plum and dark. You can check out proper swatches that I've done with more patience and accuracy on my blog. Of course, I just want to show you a little bit of comparisons and give you an idea and my experience with these eyeshadows. Two more to go, and this is Paradiso. This is a medium plum with a bit of a brighter pink shift to it. It's really pretty. Another one of these sticky type of metallics that are a little bit harder to have shine properly on the eye. This one looks a little bit more satiny and less metallic on the eye, but it will give you a beautiful eye look blended out with Sleeper that I showed you before, or Going Steady, or any of these plummy shades. Very pretty. Definitely one of the shades that caught my eye at the beginning. Then the final shade is, I have to read this because I can't remember it, Solstice with the Mostest. Maybe it's supposed to be a pun. I don't get it. But this is a bright fuchsia with a more cool toned purple shift. You can see it while I rotate that it shifts a little bit, almost a lavender purple. However, on the eye, this shift almost disappears and you will see a fuchsia. This is a difficult formulation. It doesn't go on very metallic or very easily, and yeah, it's a bit more difficult. Again, though, purples are really difficult to make, pinks, I guess, as well. Not one of my favorites. If you are really looking for a color like this, and this could be an answer for you, not one of my favorites though. Okay, so we went through all of the new 24 eyeshadows from Colourpop, and now to give you my favorites and my recommendations. I would definitely pick up Carrot Cake and Crackle and Thank You Next. Gorgeous eyeshadows. I would definitely get Mr. Sandman. The color speaks to me. It's really beautiful. This one here, again, I can't remember the name. It's called Paradiso. The plum, the matte plum. Then I would get these greens right here, absolutely. If you're looking for a nice dark duochrome, this one here is beautiful. The blues, if you don't have anything like a blue and you're really looking for a blue, but I would prefer Nabla Eternity to this blue here rather. But this one here, which is Antimatter, is really unique in its glitteriness and prettiness. So I would actually recommend this one. Oh, and I almost forgot the silver here, also absolutely beautiful. And these are the ones I would recommend you to get. The other ones, it's a little bit up to you with the colors and if you want the colors or need the colors. But these are definitely the standouts in this collection of 24 eyeshadows. That was it, you guys. Thank you so much for hanging in there. Don't forget to check out the blog post. This is more of a video accompanying the blog post rather than the other way around, because yeah, I thought swatches of eyeshadows need to go on the blog rather than on YouTube, where you have to take screenshots or anything like that. Of course, there's swatches on my Instagram page as well, and I hope this was useful. Let me know down below if you picked any of these up or if you're going to. I hope this helps screaming out and making a choice. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video. I am posting videos here and there 2 or 3 times a week, depending on how I can get them out. And I hope that you guys enjoy that. I will see you in my next one. Bye guys!